You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Welcome back to Vocal Technologist. Lately, keeping up with product design feels a bit like watching two completely different things happen at once. It's fascinating.
It really is. What are the two things you're seeing?
Well, on one side, you've got this incredible acceleration, AI automation, just churning out interfaces seemingly instantly.
Right. The speed is breakneck.
And then on the other side, there's this almost painstaking focus on physical form, hardware design, where, every single millimeter matters, debates rage for years.
Yeah, the meticulous craft side. It's a strange duality.
Exactly. So today, maybe for our Product Thursday focus, we thought we'd try and make sense of this. We've looked at a whole stack of material on AI tools, big redesigns, even UX philosophy.
And the goal is really to pull out the key aha moments, right? Where is this all actually headed?
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Give you the crucial insights on digital and physical creation.
It's definitely an interesting time for designers. That tension you mentioned is central. You have tools promising almost total automation for the, let's say, grunt work. And at the same time, huge brands like Apple are making these massive, incredibly high-stakes bets on aesthetics that take forever to get right.
It feels like designers need to be both speed demons and, almost like sculptors.
Precisely. A weird combination of skills required now.
Okay, let's start with the speed demon part then. The big tremor right now seems to be coming from inside Figma. It's more than just plugins, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. They've got this alpha feature, prompt editing, and it feels genuinely transformative, not just incremental.
So instead of clicking endlessly through layers, you just type.
Pretty much. You give it written instructions, and it handles complex, repetitive stuff instantly.
What does that look like, practically speaking? Prompt editing can sound a bit abstract.
Okay, think about bulk edits. You could tell it, populate the legal disclaimer on all 30 screens and adjust the font size in the navigation bar.
Wow, okay.
Or even more powerfully, generate 10 different UI styles for this checkout flow. It can actually redesign multiple frames at the same time.
Multiple frames simultaneously.
So that's
significant. Access is limited, though, right?
Yeah, for now it's about 5,000 paid users. But it clearly shows where they're going.
But this isn't just about tidying up existing designs, is it? This feels like it changes what Figma is.
That's where Figma Make enters the picture. This is the big leap. It shifts Figma from being, a collaborative whiteboard.
Yeah, a drawing tool.
To basically a full design-to-production platform. It uses AI, front-end coding specifically, to generate functional prototypes, actual code.
Functional, like clickable and working.
Yes, specifically progressive web apps, PWAs.
PWAs, we hear that term a lot.
Yeah.
Just quickly, for anyone listening, what is that in simple terms?
Think of it like code that lets a web-based design feel and act like a really polished native app you'd install, but it runs right in your browser. Super smooth.
Okay.
So, by using AI to spit out these functional PWA prototypes, Figma is aiming to just eliminate that whole messy handoff phase between designers and developers.
Hold on. If Figma is generating production-ready code, are we just making front-end development easier for everyone? Or are we creating this massive dependency on one single platform for the entire digital product creation?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The vendor locking concern is huge. Teams really need to think about that.
Yeah, definitely.
But this generative speed isn't just in pro UI tools. Look at platforms like Roblox.
Right, for gaming and creation.
They're adding AI tools so creators can just type create a drivable Jeep with a rocket launcher, and it generates the interactive asset.
Seriously.
That's wild.
And they're even rolling out real-time voice chat translation. Huge for global accessibility. And YouTube's jumping in too, especially for shorts.
Exactly. They're using a custom version of Google's VO3 video model. They call it VO3 Fast.
VO3 Fast, okay.
It generates short, 480p video clips, including sound. But maybe more impactful is the Edit with AI feature.
What does that do?
You just dump your raw footage, and it generates a first draft. Cuts, transitions, even background music. It takes what could be an hour of tedious editing and makes it maybe a 5-minute review.
We're moving so quickly that even just exploring styles, the look and feel, is getting automated. I saw something about Midjourney.
Yeah, the Style Explorer V1. It's purely for aesthetic fiddling. It lets you use these things called SREF codes.
SREF codes.
Think of them as permanent links to a specific visual style or vibe. You can grab one and instantly apply that look to completely different images.
So instead of tweaking sliders for hours,
Exactly. You can browse hundreds of distinct styles instantly. It's like searching for a look rather than painstakingly building it. Finding the perfect aesthetic becomes almost instantaneous.
that speed, that instant consistency, it brings us right to that tension point we mentioned earlier, the human element. If AI makes good enough stuff so fast, what happens to human designers?
And that's the sobering reality check. We are already seeing, unfortunately, job losses and real wage pressure for graphic designers, visual artists.
Really? Already?
Yes. Companies are looking at AI output. Maybe the quality isn't perfect, but it's fast, it's cheap, and they're deciding it's good enough.
Hmm.
But connecting this back to product strategy, these tools aren't magic. They just accelerate whatever you feed them. If you have a weak design system, a poor foundation,
AI just makes bad designs faster.
beautifully consistent bad designs faster. Exactly. So, ironically, the rise of AI makes the quality of that initial human-created design system even more critical.
That's a fantastic point, the need for a solid digital foundation. And that mirrors the incredibly high stakes we see in the physical world, with hardware brands laying these uncompromising aesthetic foundations. Let's switch gears, away from the AI canvas towards Apple's hardware world, the Mac and iPad lines finally blurring.
The rumors are getting very specific now. An OLED MacBook Pro full touchscreen, likely starting production late 2026, probably running on M6 chips.
A touchscreen Mac. Apple resisted that for so long.
They did, but iPads, other modern laptops, consumer expectations have shifted. It feels almost inevitable now.
And alongside that function shift, there's this huge aesthetic bet. The rumored iPhone Air, chasing thinness above everything else.
A record thin, apparently, like 5.6 millimeters titanium body. But achieving that silhouette means making some serious compromises. That's the really interesting part.
Compromises like what?
Well, the material we looked at suggests maybe a mono speaker, not stereo.
I don't know. On an iPhone.
And maybe only a single main 48 megapixel camera, dropping the telephoto and the ultra-wide completely.
No way. They drop optical zoom.
And apparently even the USB-C port might be off-center, just to make the internal layout work with the thinness.
Wait, sacrificing stereo sound, optical zoom for a fraction of a millimeter. That feels radical. It's prioritizing the feel, the perception over core features.
It absolutely is. And it just shows how intense this aesthetic competition has become. It's high-stakes stuff.
And that aesthetic obsession carries over to the software, right? Yeah. iOS 26 and this liquid glass thing.
Liquid glass. Even the name sounds premium.
It does.
It's supposedly this massive visual overhaul, heavily inspired by the look and feel of the Vision Pro. Transparent, luminous.
Right, that glassy look.
The idea is to unify the aesthetic across 6 different Apple platforms: iOS, macOS, watchOS, tvOS, all of them.
A unified look everywhere.
And we're talking redesigned app icons for the first time since iOS 7, using these translucent materials, glass layers, subtle lighting effects that respond to motion.
So the whole system feels cohesive and, well, expensive.
Exactly. Instantly premium no matter which device you pick up. That seems to be the goal.
It's not just the tech giants making these kinds of visual commitments, though.
Right.
Older, established brands are tweaking things, too.
Look at BMW.
Yep.
They introduced that flat, simplified logo back in 2020, mostly for marketing.
Right, the one without the 3D effects.
Now they're finally putting it on the actual cars, starting with the iX3, getting rid of the chrome borders, the dividing lines. It's cleaner, more modern, fits better with their electric vehicle designs. It's a quieter shift, but significant.
Which contrasts sharply with brands that use redesigns as a deliberate, sometimes controversial business move. Like Jaguar recently.
Oh, Jaguar's move was a fascinating case study in strategic design alienation, you could call it.
Alienation.
They deliberately chose a polarizing new look to distance themselves from their traditional older buyers. The goal wasn't mass appeal, it was pure exclusivity.
So they wanted fewer buyers.
Essentially, yes. By focusing only on cars over, say, $130,000, they targeted a very specific, younger, design-savvy audience. They knew sales might dip initially, but the business goal was measurable. Redefine the brand's perception, shift who they appeal to, not just sell more units in the short term.
Wow, using design to actively push people away, that takes guts.
It shows design can be a very pointed business strategy.
Okay, so we've got hyper-automation speeding everything up, and this intense, ruthless commitment to aesthetics on the other side. What does this all mean for the user experience? How do designers create products that actually feel empathetic in this future?
It really forces us to think harder about designing for cognitive processes, often using what some call invisible AI.
Invisible AI.
Yeah, take the Granola Meeting Notes app. It's a great example. They got this amazing 70% weekly retention.
70%, that's huge for retention.
It is. And they did it by using AI to enhance what the human was already doing, taking rough meeting notes and turning them into neat summaries, but without annoying bots joining the call or clunky interfaces. The AI just works quietly in the background.
Making the user better without being intrusive.
Exactly. That transparency builds trust. The AI helps. It doesn't take over.
And designing for humans means, well, designing for when humans mess up.
Right.
We can't avoid errors entirely.
Precisely. You have to design systems that anticipate and forgive errors. That's where understanding things like the SRK model comes in handy.
SRK.
Skill, rule, knowledge-based errors. Skill errors are like typos, slips of the finger. Rule-based is when you misapply a known procedure. Knowledge-based is when you genuinely don't know what to do. The core idea is, when a user makes a mistake, often it's the design that failed, not the user. Good design has to minimize the chance of error and make recovery easy and obvious when errors inevitably happen.
And to design for those situations, you first need to know who the user actually is. The old way, demographic personas, age, income, location, that seems kind of useless for this stuff.
Yeah, they're generally too broad, often not very helpful for actual UX decisions. The trend now is towards functional personas.
Functional personas.
These focus entirely on what the user is trying to do. Their tasks, their goals, the specific pain points they hit when using the product. They're much more lightweight, actionable, and directly informed design choices.
And AI can help build these.
Definitely. AI can synthesize existing data like survey results, usage analytics, support tickets to build, and even continuously update these functional profiles, keep them relevant.
But what about the people who don't even know they have a problem your product could solve? That seems like a huge group.
That's arguably the largest potential market. The problem-unaware users. These are people who face friction or struggle with the process.
Like wrestling with spreadsheets for something that can be automated.
Exactly, but they see it as their own failing or just the way things are, not as a systemic issue that technology could fix.
So how do designers reach them?
You have to make the invisible pain visible. Surface the problem for them. Use things like behavioral triggers, show social proof, others like you found this easier. Use clear before and after comparisons. Demonstrate the concrete benefit. If you can convince that group their struggle isn't unique and there's a solution, that's where massive growth lies.
This has really covered a lot of ground. From AI massively speeding up production with tools like Figma Make.
Right, turning design into code almost instantly.
To these huge, bold, physical and digital redesigns like Apple's Liquid Glass or that super thin iPhone Air, high-stakes aesthetic plays.
It boils down to this, I think. AI can mimic taste, it can accelerate workflows, but it can't replicate genuine human judgment or empathy. Not yet, anyway.
So what makes a designer truly valuable now?
It's the ability to ground the work in reality, combining that empathy for the user, having good taste and judgment, understanding the business goals, and being adaptable. Those soft skills become paramount. They're what AI can't easily replace.
Absolutely. And I want to leave you, our listener, with a final thought. Circling back to that iPhone Air example, think about it. Potentially sacrificing stereo sound, sacrificing versatile cameras, all for thinness.
A purely aesthetic or perhaps psychological benefit.
Exactly. It suggests a deep commitment to how something is perceived, maybe even more than its objective capabilities. So the question for you is, when are you most willing to accept a functional trade-off in the products you use every day, just because something looks or feels better? How much does perception shape value for you, maybe even more than raw function?
It's a fascinating question about our own priorities.
Definitely something to mull over. Thanks so much for tuning in and exploring this with us. We hope this gives you a clearer picture of the shifts happening in product design. Until next time.
Spoken Tech for your ears.